Evan was a quiet young man who lived a simple life in a small rented room. Every morning, he woke up early, washed his face with cold water, and walked to his low-pay job at a local repair shop. He had dreams, big dreams, but life never gave him a chance. His pockets were always empty, and his future always felt dark. People around him moved forward, but he stayed in the same place. One evening, after a long tiring day, Evan walked home through an empty street. The sky was turning orange, and cold wind touched his face. He felt alone, like he was the only person in the world. As he crossed the road, something strange caught his eye, a soft blue glow coming from the ground. Curious, he bent down and found a small silver ring. It was smooth, cold, and looked old, like something from another time. But what shocked him was the light. The ring was glowing as if it was alive. Evan whispered to himself, "What is this?" He looked around to see if someone had dropped it, but the street was empty. He picked up the ring, and the moment it touched his skin, the glow became brighter. For 1 second, the entire world around him became still. The leaves stopped moving, the wind stopped blowing, even the sound of traffic disappeared. It felt like time had paused. Evan pulled his hand back quickly, and everything started moving again. He stood there, confused and scared. But something inside him said this ring was important. So he placed it in his pocket and continued walking. He did not know that his life had already changed. When he reached his building, a voice suddenly came from behind him. "Don't wear that ring." Evan turned fast. A thin old woman with gray hair stood under a streetlight. Her eyes were sharp, almost glowing in the dark. She looked at him like she already knew him. Evan asked, "What are you talking about?" The old woman stepped closer and said, "The ring chooses people, but it also takes something from them. Be careful, boy." Evan's heart started beating fast. "Do you know what this ring is?" She did not smile. She simply shook her head slowly. "It is not from this world. It is not from this time." Before Evan could ask more, she walked away into the shadows and disappeared. He wanted to follow her, but fear stopped him. His hands were shaking. His mind was full of questions. What did she mean by this time? Why did the ring freeze the world? And why did she warn him? That night, Evan could not sleep. The ring lay on his table, glowing softly like it was breathing. He stared at it for hours, thinking whether he should throw it away or keep it. But something inside him whispered that this ring was a key to a life he never had. Around midnight, the glow became brighter. Evan felt a sudden pain in his head, like someone was pulling him from inside. He tried to stand, but his legs froze. The room started shaking. The air turned heavy. The ring lifted into the air by itself and started spinning fast in front of him. Evan shouted, "What is happening?" A bright blue light exploded from the ring and wrapped around his body. His vision became blurry. He felt like he was falling into a deep tunnel. He could hear a strange sound, like whispers, like voices from another world. Everything around him disappeared. And then silence. When Evan opened his eyes again, he was lying on a soft bed, not the broken mattress in his room. The ceiling was white and shiny. The walls were clean and expensive looking. He heard the sound of a waterfall somewhere near. He stood up slowly and looked around in shock. He was in a huge bedroom with golden lamps, marble floors, and a giant window showing a beautiful garden outside. This can't be real," he whispered. Suddenly, the door opened. A beautiful woman entered the room. She had long dark hair, elegant clothes, and sharp confident eyes. She looked at Evan like she knew him very well. And then she said something that froze his blood. "Good morning, Evan. I was waiting for you, my husband." Evan felt the ground move under his feet. His heart stopped for a moment. His breath became heavy. "Husband? How? He had never seen this woman in his life. Before he could speak, she smiled and walked closer, touching his face gently. You look confused. Don't worry, everything will make sense soon. Evan stepped back, shaking. Where am I? Who are you? Why are you calling me your husband? The woman looked surprised. Evan, you are home. And I am Arya. Don't you remember anything? He shook his head. His voice broke. No. I don't. Arya's smile slowly faded. Her expression changed from soft to serious. She looked at him with fear, or maybe fear of what he might discover. Outside the window, dark clouds started gathering, even though the sun was bright a moment ago, like the world itself knew something strange had begun. Evan looked at the glowing ring on his finger. Arya looked at the ring too, and fear filled her eyes. She whispered, "So, it happened again." The room felt colder. Evan asked, "What happened again?" Arya didn't answer. Instead, she whispered, "Evan, you have changed time." And that was the moment Evan realized. He was no longer in his world. He was no longer in his time. And he was no longer in control. The unexpected war had already begun. Evan stood frozen in the middle of the giant room. His heart was beating fast, and his hands were cold. Arya, the woman who just called herself his wife, watched him carefully, like she already expected this reaction. Evan looked around again, hoping this was a dream, a very strange dream. But everything felt real. The soft carpet under his feet. The warm light from the lamps. The soft smell of flowers coming from the garden outside. None of it felt fake. Arya stepped closer and gently held his hand. "Evan, please sit down," she said softly. He pulled his hand back. "No. First tell me what is going on. Why am I here? How am I your husband? I don't remember anything." Arya took a deep breath. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were hiding something. "All right," she said. "I will tell you slowly." She walked to a small table near the window and poured 2 glasses of water. Her hands trembled slightly. She gave one glass to Evan, but he didn't take it. Arya sighed and sat on the couch. "Evan, this is your home. You have lived here with me for years." Evan shook his head. "No. That's impossible. I was in my small room. I had no money. No job. Nothing. And now suddenly I'm here? In a mansion? Married to you." Arya looked at him with a strange mix of sadness and fear. "You don't remember because the ring took your memory again." Evan looked at his hand. The glowing ring was still there. Still mysterious. Still alive. He whispered, "Again." Arya slowly nodded. Before he could ask anything else, she stood up and said, "Come with me." She opened the door and walked into a long hallway. Evan followed, confused and nervous. The hallway was filled with paintings, trophies, and photographs. Everything looked expensive. Near the stairs, a tall man in a black suit bowed to Arya. "Good morning, madam." Arya nodded politely. Evan looked at the man, shocked. This was like a scene from a movie, a butler in a mansion. Arya led Evan downstairs. The house was huge. There were marble floors, long curtains, crystal chandeliers, and giant windows. Evan had never seen a place like this in real life. Arya stopped near a large room with glass walls. "This," she said, "is your life now." Evan looked inside and saw several people working on computers. The screens showed charts, stocks, money transfers, business reports. He swallowed hard. "What is this?" Arya answered quietly, "Our company." "Your company too?" She looked at him. "Evan, you are a billionaire in this time." Evan felt dizzy. "A billionaire? Me?" Arya almost smiled. "Yes. Together we built one of the biggest tech companies in the world. But you don't remember because every time you use the ring, you lose a part of your memory. Evan stepped back. That's not true. I never used the ring. I found it yesterday. Arya stared at him. Yesterday, for you. Not for us. Before Evan could understand her words, she opened a door to another room. A room he wasn't prepared for. Inside was a large table filled with photos of him and Arya. Their wedding. Their vacations. Their parties. Birthdays. Anniversaries. Hundreds of pictures, of a life he had never lived. Evan touched one picture. In it, he was smiling happily, holding Arya's hand near a beach. He felt a strange pain in his chest. It wasn't physical pain, it was emotional. Like he was missing something precious, something he couldn't remember. Arya spoke quietly, "You were different before. You were smarter, stronger, more confident. You used the ring many times to change things, to fix your past, to make your life better." Evan stared at her. "But why would I forget all this? Why would the ring erase my memory?" Arya looked away. "Because the ring is not a gift. It has rules. It gives power, but it takes something in return." Evan asked, "What does it take?" Arya's eyes filled with sadness. "Pieces of you." Before Evan could speak, she walked to a drawer and pulled out something, a small black diary. She handed it to him. "This is your diary. You wrote everything here. Maybe it will help you remember." Evan opened the diary. The first page had his handwriting. He read aloud. "The ring helped me become rich, but it is dangerous. Every time I use it, I lose memories. Arya says it is still safe, but I feel she is hiding something." Evan's chest tightened. He flipped pages. "I need to know Arya's secret. Why does she always look scared when I use the ring? Something is wrong with this timeline." Then he reached the last page. It had only one line. "Don't trust Arya." Evan looked up slowly. Arya's face had changed. She was no longer calm. She looked worried, deeply worried. Evan whispered, Why does the diary say I shouldn't trust you?" Arya didn't answer. She took one step backward. Then another. Her voice shook as she said softly, "Because, Evan, there are things you don't know about me. Things I tried to protect you from." Evan felt a chill run down his spine. "What things?" he asked. Arya walked to the window and looked outside. Dark clouds were gathering again. She whispered, "Evan, the truth is, the ring did not only change your life. It changed mine too." Evan's breath caught. He sensed something big was coming, something dangerous. Arya turned around slowly. Her eyes were full of fear. "Evan, I am not who you think I am." And just like that, the mystery deepened. The world around Evan felt heavier. And he realized this was not a normal marriage. It was a time-made marriage. A marriage built on secrets. A marriage ready to collapse. Evan sat in the living room, holding the black diary tightly. Every page he read felt heavier than the last. The words screamed a warning he could not ignore: "Don't trust Arya." But the woman in front of him was calm, elegant, and beautiful, the very definition of trust. Yet, something about her eyes didn't match her words. Fear lingered there, hiding deeper secrets. Arya broke the silence. "Evan, I need to tell you everything. Before you read more, you must understand the truth." Evan looked at her warily. "About what?" "About why the diary says I shouldn't trust you." She nodded. "Yes. And, about the ring." Evan's heart skipped. "The ring? I thought it only changed my time, made me rich. Is there more?" Arya took a deep breath. "The ring is not just a tool. It is a bridge. a bridge between different times. Each time you use it, you travel, but you also create consequences. Small changes, or big disasters. Evan's mind spun. Consequences? What kind of disasters? Arya's voice became soft, almost a whisper. When you first found the ring, you thought it was a gift. But it changes more than just your life. It changes people around you. And me. And our timeline. Every time you use it, you risk something terrible. Evan stared at her. His voice shook. You're saying I could destroy everything by using the ring? Arya nodded slowly. Yes. That is why I married you, in this timeline. I thought I could control it. Protect you. But now, I am not sure. Evan slammed the diary on the table. Control it? Protect me? Arya, what is really happening here? I don't understand anything anymore. Arya walked closer and touched his shoulder. You need to listen carefully. I have seen the future, multiple futures. The ring allows you to see them, but every vision is dangerous. And the truth is, I am not exactly who I seem. Evan's eyes widened. What do you mean? Who are you really? Arya hesitated. She looked at the glowing ring on his hand. I married you, because of the ring. But I didn't love you like this timeline shows. I loved something else. Or maybe someone else. I used the ring to shape our life, to make us safe, but I can't hide the truth anymore. You have to know it before it's too late. Evan stepped back. Too late for what? Arya, talk straight. I can't handle riddles. Arya's eyes filled with tears. You trust the ring, but it trusts no one. I used it to become a billionaire. To protect myself. To protect you. But, in every timeline, something terrible happens. If you continue to use it, one of us will vanish. Maybe both of us. Maybe the entire timeline collapses. Evan felt the room spin. His chest felt tight, like 1,000 weights were pressing down. Disappear? Collapse? This is insane. Arya's voice softened. It's real. I saw it happen before. You will too, if you don't believe me. The ring is powerful, but it's also dangerous. And there's someone else. Someone who watches over it? Evan's brow furrowed. Who? Someone else. Arya nodded. The woman who warned you before. The old woman. She is a time guardian. She exists to make sure the ring is never misused. And she doesn't trust me. Evan remembered her warning, the ring chooses you, but it will demand a price. His heart raced. So, the guardian knows everything? And she warned me. Arya's lips pressed tightly. Yes. And she is right to warn you. But she doesn't understand my choices. She sees only the danger, not the reason behind it. She is why we are trapped in this timeline. She is why I married you, to stop her from taking the ring back. Evan's hands trembled. Stop her? Take it back. Arya. I don't understand. Why are we fighting over a ring? Why is everyone hiding things from me? Arya's voice became desperate. Because Evan, it's bigger than you, bigger than me. Every time someone misuses the ring, time itself bends. Reality changes. People disappear. Lives are ruined. And now, the Guardian says you are the next in line. She says you are dangerous. Evan shook his head. Me? Dangerous? I just found this ring. I never asked for any of this. Arya's eyes softened, almost pleading. I know. But that is the thing about the ring, it doesn't care who you are. It cares only about the outcome. And the outcome is not always good. You must decide who to trust. me, or the guardian. Because one choice will save a life, and the other may destroy everything. Evan's mind raced. Every possibility seemed worse than the last. He looked at Arya, then at the glowing ring. He could feel the power inside it, like it was alive. But what scared him most was the silence that followed her words. A silence heavy with warning. A silence that promised danger. Arya reached out her hand. Evan, trust me. Please. I married you to protect us. To protect time itself. But if you listen to the guardian, she will force you to destroy everything. Evan froze. The weight of the decision pressed down on him. He realized the diary's warning wasn't just about Arya, it was about him. About the choice he would have to make. The truth he had been running from was not just hidden. It was forbidden. And then, a loud knock echoed through the mansion. Evan and Arya both froze. The sound was slow, deliberate, like a warning. Arya whispered, "It's her. The guardian has arrived." Evan's heart pounded. The guardian. Arya nodded. Her face was pale. And she didn't come to talk. The air in the room grew colder. Shadows stretched across the walls. The glowing ring on Evan's hand pulsed, reacting to the presence outside. Time felt different, fragile, ready to break. Evan looked at Arya. What do we do? Arya's eyes were full of fear, but also determination. We fight. But remember, Evan, this fight is only the beginning. The forbidden truth has only just begun. Outside the door, the sound of a slow, sharp step approached. Evan knew, in that instant, that nothing would ever be the same. And the unexpected war of time itself had begun. The knock on the door echoed again, louder this time. Evan's heart raced, and his palms were sweaty. Outside, the shadows shifted. The air felt heavy, almost as if the room itself was holding its breath. Arya stood in front of him, her body tense. Evan, it's her. The Time Guardian. She doesn't come for warnings. She comes to take what belongs to her. Evan glanced at the glowing ring on his finger. Its light pulsed faster, almost like it was alive. Take it? Why? Why me? Arya stepped closer. Because you have the power now. And with that power, you can either save everything, or destroy it. The doorknob slowly turned. Evan could feel the danger in every movement. Then, a tall figure appeared in the doorway, the old woman, the guardian. Her eyes glowed faintly, and she looked at Evan like he was a puzzle she wanted to solve. Evan, she said, her voice sharp and calm. Give me the ring. You don't understand the consequences. Every time you use it, you risk the timeline itself. Evan swallowed hard. I don't know what to do. Arya says one thing, you say another. I can't lose everything. The guardian's gaze softened, just slightly. Listen carefully. Arya has used the ring for her own gain. She became powerful, rich, and now she wants to control your life too. If you trust her, she could destroy everything, even you. Arya's face turned pale. Don't listen to her. She is jealous of what we have. She doesn't know love, she doesn't understand our life. Evan looked at both of them, shaking. His head felt dizzy. The ring on his finger burned, pulsing faster with every heartbeat. I need time. I don't know who to trust. The guardian stepped closer. There is no time. You must choose, Evan. You must decide who to save, her, me, or yourself. Arya grabbed his hand, her eyes desperate. Don't listen to her. She will take the ring and erase everything we built. We are safe only together. Evan felt torn. Every instinct inside him screamed that Arya cared for him. But the diary, the warnings, the strange flashes he remembered, They all pointed to something dangerous about her. Suddenly, the room shook. The walls trembled. The glowing ring reacted violently, spinning on his finger. Evan felt a pull, like the ring wanted him to make a choice right now. The guardian whispered, "Decide, Evan. One choice will save a life. One choice will destroy everything." Evan closed his eyes, trying to think. He saw three visions in his mind. Saving Arya, the timeline stays wealthy, powerful, safe, but the world outside collapses. People disappear. Reality becomes twisted. Saving the guardian, the timeline returns to balance, but his marriage ends. His love and memories vanish, leaving a lonely, empty future. Saving himself, he wakes up in his old life, poor, broken, but alive. Arya and the guardian both disappear from this reality, along with everything connected to the ring. Evan's chest tightened. Every option felt wrong. Every option had a cost. Arya's voice broke through his thoughts. "Evan. I am begging you. Don't let her take the ring. If you do, everything we built, everything we fought for, will vanish." The guardian's voice was calm, like a cold wind. "She is lying. She used the ring before. She cannot be trusted. Save yourself, or save time itself." Evan opened his eyes. The ring glowed brighter, almost blinding him. He could feel time bending around him. Every second stretched like hours. Shadows of possible futures danced around the room, whispering what could happen if he chose wrong. He tried to speak, but his voice was small. I can't." Arya grabbed his shoulders. "Yes, you can. Fight for us." The guardian raised her hand. "Yes, you can, if you choose wisely. One choice now decides all futures. Don't hesitate, Evangelist. Hesitation destroys everything." Evan looked at both women, and in that moment, he understood something: there was no perfect choice. Whatever he did, someone would lose. Someone would suffer. The ring's light exploded suddenly, filling the room with a blinding blue glow. Evan felt himself lifted off the floor, pulled by an invisible force. Time seemed to stop. He could hear his heartbeat, his own breath, and nothing else. And then, a voice inside his head. Not Arya's, not the guardian's, his own voice. "Choose wisely," it said. "Choose the hardest, but the right one." Evan's mind raced. He saw flashes of the future, and one choice became clear: he had to save himself. Not out of selfishness, but because only then could he have a chance to fix everything. He tightened his fist, feeling the ring burn. "I choose myself." The room exploded into chaos. Arya screamed. The guardian's face twisted in fury. The ring's light engulfed everything. Walls crumbled. Time itself seemed to shatter. Evan felt himself being pulled backward, through the air, through the tunnel of time. He saw glimpses of Arya and the guardian, shouting at him, reaching for him, but he could not stop. Then, suddenly, darkness. Evan landed on cold concrete. He opened his eyes. He was back in his old room. His broken mattress. The dim light from the street outside his window. Nothing had changed, except one thing. The ring was gone. Evan sat up, breathing heavily. He was alive. Poor. Broken. Ordinary. But free. Outside, he could hear life moving as it always had: normal, simple, real. And he knew, deep down, that the dangerous choice he had made had saved not just him, but time itself. But even as relief filled him, a soft glow appeared from the corner of the room. A familiar pulse, faint, but there. The ring. And Evan realized, the war was not over. Evan sat on his small, worn mattress, staring at the empty corner where the glowing ring had disappeared. His body ached, and his mind felt heavy, but he was alive. Poor, ordinary, broken but alive. For the first time in years, he breathed freely. He thought about Arya, about the Guardian, about the world of power and danger he had left behind. It had all been so tempting: wealth, love, control, but the cost had been too high. Memories of their voices, their warnings, their pleas echoed in his mind. He shivered. Evan rubbed his eyes and tried to focus on reality. "I chose myself," he whispered. "I survived, and that's what matters." The days passed. Evan returned to his simple life, walking to work, fixing small machines, paying his rent, dreaming quietly about a better future. But he could not shake the feeling that the world had changed, even if it looked the same. The ordinary felt fragile now, like it could shatter at any moment. One morning, Evan walked through the street where he had first found the ring. The sun was shining, the wind was soft, and life went on as usual. People passed by without noticing him. Everything seemed normal, but in his pocket, a faint warmth reminded him that some power still existed, somewhere. He stopped at a small cafe, tired and hungry. As he sipped his coffee, he noticed someone outside, sitting alone at a bench. A woman with long dark hair, elegant and calm. His heart skipped a beat. It was Arya. She looked different, ordinary, like everyone else. No mansion, no power, no wealth. She smiled softly at him. Evan froze. Memories of the alternate timeline rushed back: the mansion, the wealth, the secrets, the danger. He swallowed hard. She walked toward him slowly. "Evan," she said gently. "It's you." Evan looked around, half expecting the Guardian to appear, half expecting the ring to glow. Nothing happened. The world was normal. Ordinary. Safe. "Arya, you're real?" he asked, voice trembling. She laughed softly, shaking her head. "I've always been real, Evan. But now, I'm just like everyone else. No magic, no power, no secrets. Just me." Evan smiled weakly. Relief mixed with a strange sadness. I lost everything back there. All of it. But I'm alive. And I can try again. Honestly, this time." Arya nodded, her eyes soft. "Yes. This time is real. And this time, it's ours to build. Slowly. Carefully. No shortcuts. No rings. No time tricks. Just life." Evan felt hope stirring in his chest. For the first time, he could imagine a future he could touch, a life he could shape with his own hands. He didn't need the ring. He didn't need shortcuts. But as he reached for her hand, a soft glow appeared behind his shoulder. He turned slowly. The ring. It was small, faint, barely visible, but unmistakably there. It rested on the edge of his table, glowing as if waiting. Evan's heart pounded. He looked at Arya, who noticed it too. Her eyes widened, a mixture of fear and recognition. The ring pulsed once, softly, and then again. Evan knew, deep down, it was offering him a choice. A chance. Another timeline. Another life. He clenched his fist. "Not this time," he said firmly. "I've learned. No shortcuts. No magic. No more tricks." The ring pulsed one last time and vanished completely. Evan exhaled, feeling the weight lift from his chest. Time, for now, was his own. Arya reached for his hand again. "Are you ready?" Evan nodded. "Yes. This time, we do it our way." The city outside was ordinary, quiet, alive. People walked, laughed, argued, and lived. And Evan finally understood something important. Life wasn't about shortcuts, power, or rings that could twist reality. Life was about choices. The hard choices. The dangerous choices. And even when everything seemed lost, there was always a chance to start over. He walked out of the cafe with Arya by his side, feeling the sun on his face. Ordinary, simple, real life stretched before him, full of possibilities he had earned, not stolen. And though the memory of the ring and the worlds it had shown him lingered in his mind, Evan felt stronger than ever. He knew the war had ended, the timelines had settled, and he had survived the impossible. The final truth was clear. The greatest power wasn't in magic or time. It was in courage, choices, and the will to start again. And as he stepped into the busy street with Arya, hand in hand, Evan smiled. For the first time in years, he felt alive. Truly alive.